Well, hey there, fabulous photographers. Today we're talking all about how to give a winter look to your imagery, and we're going to focus specifically on how to effectively use a snow brush to create a convincing winter image. Now, we will be talking about snow overlays, we're going to be talking about how to colorize your images, but our main focus is going to be how to really effectively use those snow brushes. So let's go ahead and jump in. As you can see, this original image was taken in the fall. It's got some very warm tones, and it is very clearly not winter. So we are going to go ahead and transform this into a winter scene. And the first thing I want to do is adjust our coloring. So I'm going to have you go up to Layer, go down to New Fill Layer, and Solid Color. And we're going to call this Blue Tone. And we are going to pick a dark royal blue or a navy blue color. It's going to give us that solid fill layer. I then want you to go down to blend modes and go to color, and it's going to transform it into a very blue scene. So at this point, we're going to back off our opacity. We're just going to bring it down until it looks a little more winterized. And this is a touch blue. We're actually going to paint it off in a few minutes, but this gives us a good starting point. Now with some of your images, you may want to darken down that background. I might try that and see how that looks. And back down my opacity. And then I'm going to put a white layer mask over that. I'm just going to paint that off of my model just a little bit. Now the next thing I want to do is add in a little bit of fog because we're going to give it a wintry, icy look. So go ahead and add a new layer. And all you have to do is grab a brush, put it on white, and you're just going to start tapping in where you kind of want that fog bang to roll in. And we are starting on a lower opacity, and we're going to actually bring that opacity down even more in just a second. But this kind of gives it a texturized look to it. And then we're going to build on with multiple layers. So I'm going to bring that down. And then we are going to add another layer. We're going to get some of that fog in the background. And we're actually going to reduce our brush size as we travel around in the background so that it goes directly with what we are seeing within this image. Now at this point we want to layer this on just a little bit more, so I'm going to add yet a third layer. And I'm going to bring my opacity down just a little bit. And I'm going to start texturizing this just a touch. And we're going to come back in and refine this a little bit later. But the main point is to get kind of a frosty look to this. Now you do have the ability to use an ice overlay on things like water in the background. I'm not going to worry about that today, but you could get something that kind of looks like this. And you could start piecing that together and forming a really pretty icy look on top of your pond. But like I said, we're not going to worry about that right now. Now before we do any more color adjusting, we're going to go ahead and work with our snow brush. Now just a quick overview, you do have the option of working with a snow brush or you can work with a snow overlay. So let's take a look real quick at what a snow overlay would look like, and then I'm going to show you the difference with a brush. So you're going to drag your snow overlay onto your image, and you are going to change the blend mode to screen, which will remove all of the black, and voila, we actually have our snow right there on our image. And you can see we've got snow in the foreground here, we've got snow right at the same level, and snow in the background. If there's something you don't like, you can go ahead and put a layer mask over it, and you can paint it on and off. You can also reduce the opacity to make it match however you feel is going to be best for your image. So you've got those pre-designed snow overlays which you can use, and that's going to save you a lot of time. Or you can work with a snow brush, which happens to be my favorite thing in the entire world. Now to use a snow brush, you're going to add a new layer, and we're going to call this snow same level. You're then going to go to your brush panel, and you're going to scroll down until you find your snow brush. Now the first layer you want to do is going to be the same level as your model. So this is going to be the snow in relation to this model where she's standing. So you're going to paint it across the front of her, you're going to paint it in the background, and you're going to just place different pieces of snow around her. And you can tap, you can drag, and you can work with that snow until you're happy with where it is. We're going to go ahead and leave that just like it is there, and we're going to add another layer. And this is going to be snow far away. So snow in the background is going to be smaller than snow on the same level as your model. So you're going to reduce your brush size, and you're going to start painting in snow in the background. And this snow is not going to be as dark as the snow on the same level as your model. So you're going to go ahead and paint in that snow wherever you need it to be. When you're all done, we're going to reduce the opacity on that so that it looks like it's a little bit faded and a little bit more in the background. So we're just going to bring it down just a little bit so you can still see it. It's still noticeable, but it's not as bright and contrasted as the snow in the front. Now we're going to go ahead and add a new layer. And we're going to call this Snow Foreground 1 because we are going to be doing more than one of these. And at this point, we're going to bring up the brush size of our snow brush, and we're going to start filling in some of this bigger snow. And remember, this is going to be on a different level than the snow that is matched with our model. So when you do this, you're going to start painting it on. You're probably going to want to reduce your opacity size a little bit. And make sure you are getting snow over your model. If there's something you don't like, you just white layer mask it and paint it off if it ends up on your model's face or somewhere you don't like on the dress. And you're just going to reduce the opacity on that just a touch. Now we're not done yet. Still have at least one more layer to go, so let's just call this Snow Foreground 2. And this is going to be even bigger, more up close snow. And the closer you get, the less you're going to see. So this is not going to be as many flakes as the things closer to your model. So go ahead and just start tapping that in wherever you like it. This is definitely going to be closer looking, and you're going to reduce the opacity on this one. If there's somewhere specific you want it, you can go ahead and just tap on that area. It should pop up relatively close to where you want it, but it is a snow brush, so you can't control it. It is more of a random thing. And as always, you can step back if there's something you didn't like, or you can go ahead and layer mask that off. I'm going to reduce the opacity on that. And because I'm not done yet, let's just call this Snow Foreground 4. And I want just a couple of really big pieces of snow up close. Notice how there's only a few of these, because those are going to be more up close. Now, what do I need to do? This is where your judgment comes in. You have to figure out, where do you need more snow? Is this spot kind of bare? Do you want a little bit more here? Do you want it to look like a snowstorm or just a light sprinkling of snow? You can go ahead and adjust however you need to make this work for you. I'm just going to fill in just a little bit. And remember, when you are layer masking this to paint it off, you're going to have to change your brush because the snow brush is not going to be helpful for brushing off of your model's face. Now at this point, you're going to go in and you're going to do the rest of your color corrections. You can add a curves level to it, so you may want to tint it just a little bit on the blue side or on the yellow side. I'm going to go down to my blue channel and I can bring it down into the yellows a little bit. So it gives it kind of an older vintage looking snow element to it, or I can drag it over to my blues make it much more frosty. I'm then going to want to go in and darken down certain parts of this. So I'm going to add in a new layer. I'm going to call it darken. I'm going to bring it down to gray color, down to soft light, and fill with soft neutral. And I'm just going to ground this a little bit around some of these outside edges because I want to define where that fog is, where that frosty look is, and give it a little more depth and shadows. So I'm just going to tap around the outside here. I'm going to bring some of these trees down a little bit. Might even go in there and bring down some of that ice just a touch. I may even come in here and bring down some of the shadows within that water. Now, if I wanted to make this look like ice, I would have to make sure to take out some of the detail in the tree work because you don't see that kind of reflection through ice. So you're definitely going to want to play with that if you want this to look like ice, or it could look like open water and your snow queen is bringing in the snow and is about to freeze everything over. Now, if you want, you can play with your curves level again and you can give it kind of a matte finish, which might look nice with this. Or you can leave it be and have those bright, vibrant colors. If you are working with matte, you're just going to be in your main channel. You're going to kind of want to have a basic guideline there and then bring up those blacks. Look how it brings that in really nicely. You could even go in and add in some flares of color because that might look really nice if you added in a little purple, a little pink, a little yellow, just to give it some pops of color, but you're going to want to reduce that opacity. So real quick, that would be layer. You're going to want to grab your gradient tool and put that on radial, and then you're going to want to grab your color and pop that in there, and then bring down the opacity. And there you have it. Now, if you want to get your hands on one of these snow brushes, I do have this in my shop. I'm going to leave the link below for you guys. It is called a particle brush because it is not just for snow. I do use it for snow, but I also use it for particles when I'm doing something like a fairy tale inspired image. And I can just add little dust particles to the air or little glimmers of light if there's sun streaming down in my image. I can use it for all sorts of things to add some texture and depth and add a little bit to the story of the image. I also have the snow overlays if you don't want to worry about that snow brush and you just want it done, pre-made, and ready to go for you. So those links are going to be down below to the shop where you can get your hands on a copy of this snow brush or these snow overlays, as well as those ice overlays that I showed you just a little bit of before. You could even go as far as to take one of the ice overlays and put it on top of your image and reduce your opacity. You can go pretty low and give it a little bit of an icy look, or you can have it a little bit higher, add that layer mask in, and start painting it off of your model and off of your main scene so that it's more of a vignette around the outside. And you still have that icy effect to it. Almost as if you're looking through a window of ice. So there you have it. If you have any questions about snow brushes or snow overlays, go ahead and leave those comments below. I will get those answered ASAP. And if we need more tutorials, I am happy to create those for you. Happy winterizing your images. I cannot wait to see what you are going to do. Go ahead and drop me a link below to your next snow image because I want to see what you are doing. I want to cheer you on, and I really want to be there to support you. So I would love to see what you're working on. Go ahead and let me know and hit me up on @KM Photography on Facebook and Instagram with any questions, comments, or feel free to tag me so that I can see what you're working on. I'm KM Robinson, social media marketing strategist here at KM Robinson Photography and over at Reading Transforms. And I would love to hang out with you guys to teach you more about how to do Photoshop things, how to do photography things, how to market your photography brand, and really enhance your images, get connected with your audience, and get in new potential clients. I cannot wait to see you succeed and grow and do amazing things with your winter pictures for your photography business. You guys have a great day and stay inspired.